You're listening to the Belmar Bytes podcast, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. Welcome, everybody, to the Belmar Bytes podcast. My name is Scott Billows, and I've got Tom Kadota. Tom, great to see you today. Thanks for doing this again.
Happy to be here.
And for those that don't know you, Tom, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm the Principal Solutions Engineer, and I support Scott along with our sales team with coming with the right solutions to our clients.
Awesome. So for anybody who is watching this that's been in some form of a sales cycle with us, chances are they've met you before. We today are, I'm actually really excited about this. Today we're in week 2 of a new content series that we're working through this summer. And it's hard to believe we're kind of just well into the summer months. And this content series we are calling the Belmar Summer Academy. So the idea here is for our customers, our prospective customers, just really anybody in the industry that's interested in these topics to listen in, to follow along with us. And we've got 8 weeks of content that we're just unpacking different concepts within Salesforce. So one of the challenges that we come across often is customers that have been using Salesforce for a long time. They had it set up in a particular way, and they've had people leave the organization, and the people who have come in after don't always get the same training that the crew that got when they first had it set up and deployed. So really, this is designed to just help people follow along, dive into learning some new concepts. Maybe perhaps it's just a refresher for other concepts, but we today are talking about data hygiene. And so, Tom, I guess to kick this part of the series off, week 2, data hygiene, probably one of the most important topics that you could touch on with Salesforce. And so why don't we just start with sort of this concept of the end in mind? So good data equals sort of good results, good knowledge, or valuable knowledge that you can pull out of your system.
Mm-hmm.
Bad data, probably the inverse of that. So I'm putting you on the spot here a bit, but give me think back to an example of an environment you've seen where sort of just a really, really poor set of data, and what impacts that was creating within that customer's environment.
Yeah, usually, I find that poor data, isn't created overnight. It's accumulation of, bad practices, inconsistent data standards over, a certain period of time. So I've been in orgs where they've been around for a number of years, and they may have all the fancy reports, all the fancy automation, customization, and development, and all that functionality really doesn't amount to anything if you can't rely on your data properly. And I found that, okay, while we can, send these automated emails and batch and blast, however much you want, you may be sending the same email to, or the email to the same person multiple times if they're, different records in your system. So, that's a little embarrassing, and, obviously doesn't make your constituents feel all that special. I find, at least
All that
for
valued.
me, that
Yeah,
or that
yeah.
valued. So, I find that data hygiene is number one, and if you can tackle it from the start, you're typically setting yourself up for success, or at least preventing failures. So,
Yeah. Well, it's the phrase data hygiene, sort of reminds me of, I guess just personal hygiene. If I don't cut my hair over time, it turns into a total mess. And so keeping it cut on a regular schedule, I guess just as a consistent look to, in this particular poor example, my hair. But that's true with data, right? Like, I think you called it out well. It's these problems don't just happen overnight. They aggregate over time, and you've used an example of email. communication, sending the same communication to the same contact perhaps multiple times because of poor data quality. I asked you the question in terms of what's an example. I'll share one that I'm thinking of, and I see this often, and it's such a simple thing to resolve, but that is state and or province. So if you're tracking the prefix of a state versus the full name of a state, or if you have a field that just allows people to type in the name of the state, you're going to end up with all versions of that state or province. And when you are hosting an event in a particular city, or you are wanting to send a mailer to a particular uh, group of constituents in a state or in a city, or really for that matter any field that you're going to query on, if there's inconsistency in terms of how you track uh, that data, you're going to end up just in a really tough spot. And so we see this often where customers are pulling data out of Salesforce into Excel to clean it before they send a mailer, or send a campaign. And that's challenging because so many of these things can just be resolved with simple fixes. And one of the things we're hoping to cover this week on this track is just some simple things that you can do to implement within your org, and really get yourself on a good path. So, um, Tom, I know we've talked about potentially, opening up the kimono here, showing some examples of what we can do in Salesforce. And so, maybe before we jump into that, do you want to just set the stage in terms of some talk track, or some high level ideas that you want to cover?
Yeah, for sure. I think the number one thing to make sure you're preventing in your system is duplicates, and then that's what we've alluded to here. There's standard and out of the box things you can do with duplicate management within Salesforce, such as duplicate rules, and making sure that those are flagged upon creation, or preventing them from even being created or saved into the system. Another thing that Scott mentioned is standardizing your fields or using a mechanism to standardize addresses. Salesforce comes with out of the box with kind of this Google query when you're typing in addresses that you can use. Those are just two pretty basic things: duplicate rules, standardizing fields, and you can kind of expand those out into other functionalities if you already have an existing system that you may have duplicates in that, such as running duplicate jobs or duplicate reports, and using your admin, whoever that may be, to help clean that up.
I guess one of the things that we want to highlight is, regardless of the shape of your data, uh, with the right amount of effort, you can begin to move your Salesforce org in a direction of cleanliness and properly structured. And so, one of the challenges that I would share is think of the different use cases that you are bumping into today. That may be like a mailer you want to send out. As Tom spoke to that through email. That could be email, or it could be physical mailer. It could be inviting people to an event. It could be sending out an acknowledgement letter, or uh, launching a campaign to raise funds. I guess as we work our way through the summer and these different series, it all culminates to uh, getting people ready for Giving Tuesday. So maybe we use that just as the example here. Is you want to communicate to all of your contacts and your donors and your constituents leading up to Giving Tuesday. What would you need to do within your Salesforce environment to ensure that you could communicate in the most effective way and deliver the right message to the right contact at the right time. Um, so with that, Tom, I know you got a few things you wanted to share in Salesforce. So um, I'll let you go ahead and get your screen sharing going.
Sounds good. So the first thing to do in your system, if you have not yet done this, is enabling duplicate rules in your org. So there's going to be a couple of different ways that your admin can set these up. But the easiest way is to go into your setup, type in duplicate, rules in your quick find, go to duplicate rules, and depending on your org, so if you're in a newer, Agentforce for nonprofit or nonprofit cloud, you're likely using the person account structure, which is a little bit more unified with accounts versus contacts. But if you're in maybe an older org, using accounts and contacts separately, there's those standard account and contact duplicate rules here. We can see that our account duplicate rule is inactive currently. But what's important is that I'm in a nonprofit cloud instance using the person account. So the first thing is to make sure that is active. If it is not, you can activate that. So these are standard ones, and these typically match on, first name, last name, email, or phone number, and perhaps address as well. If there's additional, fields or data points that you would like to match duplicates on, you can create your own duplicate rules and matching rules on that. So that's the first step. And the next thing I want to show you is how that actually plays out in person. So I'm going to share a different tab. And in this tab, I'm just creating a new person account record in here. I'm just going to keep it simple here. I'm going to create someone named Jill Parker. I'm going to type in their email. And even before I click save, it's going to flag that a similar record exists. And I can view the duplicate just to show who that person is already. So the first thing to do, when you're creating new records in Salesforce is to search before you create, make sure that, the person you're entering doesn't already exist. However, if in the event that you do create this, you can still create this person, but it is going to flag that it is a duplicate. So, there is this duplicate component within Salesforce that flags this already based on the duplicate rules that are active on this person account object. From there, you could just click view duplicates, select them, and it's going to ask you which one you want to use as the principal record. And you can transition any, updated fields to that principal record as well. And what that's going to do is essentially get rid of the duplicate, and it's going to merge these accounts together. Just going to ask you to confirm and merge. And there you go.
So, a couple of questions. So, I mean, this is certainly the UI, the experience that we're seeing here has gotten a lot better over the years. This used to be a little more clunky, and Salesforce have certainly improved this. So, what you've just shown is I'm entering in a new record into Salesforce, and while I'm entering, Salesforce is checking to see if a similar record exists, and if it does, or if it finds based on whatever that matching criteria that was set, it's going to notify you and then give you the option to continue. Um, what happens, Tom, when a customer imports a bunch of contacts into the system? So that's obviously a very different experience than just entering a contact manually. So the duplicate rules exist, and how do they perform when merging data or bringing data into Salesforce through an import process?
Yeah, through the import process and especially through the API, it's definitely possible that duplicate, records could be created if they aren't caught and matched at the creation process, which can be done. So in the event that that does happen, there are some retroactive ways that you can take a look, such as the duplicate reports and duplicate jobs, in which I can show. But,
Yeah. Okay. So
obviously, building in those safeguards and mechanisms to prevent the duplicate creation is something that you can build into the system.
yeah, for sure. And then if you're in that example, if you're importing say 100 records and there's only a single duplicate that ends up getting into the system, while impact is low compared to you're bringing in tens of thousands of records, and you end up with hundreds or potentially thousands of duplicates. Um, what I'm hearing, and what I know to be true is spending the time up front to ensure that the duplicate matching is set correctly for things such as an import. If you don't have an administrator and you want some help with this, you just even want to bounce ideas, reach out to us. Like we would be happy to have a conversation. There's a ton of resources online as well on the Salesforce support site and through Trailhead that will guide you through this process. But if you are uh, the measure twice, cut once, you want to just make sure you've got this right before you do it. Just reach out. Let's have a quick conversation and make sure that you are bringing in high quality data that is not going to pollute your existing data. So, but Tom, in that situation, if somebody does end up with, through an import process and or just over time through manual entry, duplicates get captured, how do we deal with that?
For sure. Yeah. If there's something that you want to, or if there's an instance in which you want to retroactively clean them up, there's definitely ways to do that. As I mentioned before, there are duplicate reports that you can create. Essentially, once dupes are created in the system, it matches them to a duplicate record set. You can just run a report, reviewing this. So this one in this instance only has Jill Parker's duplicate that was here. It's going to open up. I believe that this one was already taken care of, so I might not have to merge them. But these duplicate record sets bring visibility into all the dupes in your system. And if you have a specific edition of Salesforce, I believe it's unlimited that you need. You could do duplicate duplicate jobs here. Let me just share this other tab. And you may be able to access duplicate jobs, which basically scans your entire, org, pointing at a specific object and scanning for duplicates here. I ran one for person accounts today. We can see that we scanned, 6,500 accounts, and it's identified 11 sets of duplicates, which means there's 22 duplicates found. You can just open these up from here, and you can quickly compare and merge these records. So we can see there's two Kevins in here, and you do the same process as before.
Okay. Okay. So maybe just to echo back what I'm hearing, we have with certain license type in Salesforce, this is something that you would want to check. And again, you can reach out to us. We can help you figure that out, and or you reach out to Salesforce, and they're gonna help you figure that out. But for certain editions of Salesforce, it's going to include the ability to run jobs on a schedule, and those jobs run, and they're just scanning for duplicates. If you have an internal Salesforce admin, they'll probably know how to do this. If you don't, and you want to have a conversation, let us know. We'd be happy to just walk you through what those options are. Um, I guess, Tom, one of the things that as I think about just good hygiene and good data quality, this as you described off the start, this is not something somebody walks into overnight and they've just got bad data. This is an incremental. It just progressively gets worse and worse and worse if they're not addressing it. Um, Once it's been addressed, I mean, what is true is duplicates do get created in the system, and so having a base set of rules or having a process around data quality is a really important part of keeping your data in good shape. So, the examples Tom's shown here are when creating records manually, Salesforce can and will show you if a duplicate exists. And if you proceed and later realize that's a duplicate you want to merge, there is the ability to do that. And then we've seen an example of just jobs running in the background. So think of it, once a week, once every day. This is happening in the evening. Let's say Salesforce is just running these jobs, and it's presenting back to you potential matches that you then need to make a decision on. So really, really important and really helpful uh, uh, way of thinking about just keeping your data clean and
Mhm.
as accurate and up to date as you can. So thanks for that, Tom. That was great. Anything else that you got?
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that there are other tools out there also that can be used to, just clean your data. Sometimes folks may want, or have partnerships or relationships with other solutions out there. There's things like demand tools, and whatnot. I'm not sure if this is something that we wanted to touch on
Yeah,
too
for
much,
sure. I think
Scott,
it's a
but
great idea.
Yeah, one of the things, that the customers are often looking for is deduping like en masse and by the masses with a smooth user interface. And there's a ton of tools out there, but a couple that come to mind. There's demand tools. Our friends at Traction Complete Clean also offer a tool there. There's Cloudingo. There's a number of tools out there that may suit your needs and often expand the functionality beyond just deduplication, but also just general data management as well.
Tom, I don't know if you've seen this in action, but I've seen a demo of this. There's a company called Clay, so data enrichment and really data quality company. And so, think of an organization that you can buy a list of data from. They have an integration to Salesforce, and it's super slick. You go in and build your kind of your criteria. It will connect to your Salesforce. It can look for duplicates. It can in addition to helping you merge duplicates and clean up duplicates, it actually can do data enrichment. So say, for
Yeah.
example, for those who aren't familiar with data enrichment, if you had uh, a contact record and you had first name, last name, email, phone number, but you maybe didn't have their mailing address, uh, Clay can actually bring that data from their system into Salesforce and enrich and improve your data quality. So it's pretty cool to see this in action. And so that's another option that customers can think about. Something that we do often for customers is we can run these processes for them. So they may have in another system. Uh, that they're running, they may have better data quality than they have with Salesforce. And so an option is that we can take data out of Salesforce, we can clean it, enrich it, and then bring it back in, with those up-to-date uh, elements or data, fields that are on those contacts and or accounts. And so that's another sort of option that people have got to think about. So um, data quality, data hygiene, super important. We can have some more conversation about this if you want to learn more. Obviously, we're in the business of helping organizations who are running Salesforce to optimize and improve their use of it. But there's just a ton of tools available online too that can tools and resources that can help with this if you want to go at this on your own. So, Tom, I think on that we'll wrap. Thanks for doing this, and if you want to learn more, you can reach out to us on our website at belmarcloud.com. And we appreciate you tuning in today, and thanks for your time. And we hope you got value from this today.
Awesome. Thanks.
This has been another episode of Belmar Bytes, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or on our website at belmarcloud.com.